What's up, guys? Swift here, covering everything Chicago Bears. Today I wanted to cover our top 10 needs heading into the off season. I'm going to go over the roster and go from least important needs to most important. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 12, and in my opinion, the least important need of the entire offseason is quarterback. We should consider ourselves blessed to have a guy like Justin Fields at quarterback. Bottom line is this is the last of our problems, but I'm never against drafting a QB late. There are a few intriguing late round options who could make nice backups. Justin Fields is the guy, and the goal of this entire offseason is to build around him. So let's move on. At number 11, I have cornerback. This might be our deepest position. We have a lot of young talent here. Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon both have Pro Bowl upside and offer different skill sets. Meanwhile, undrafted rookie Jalen Jones looked like a starter this season and a guy who could really blossom if the pass rush improves next year. On top of that, the team also has Kendall Vildor, Michael Ojemudia, Harrison Hand, and Greg Stroman Jr. Poles views corner as a premium position, so I wouldn't rule out an upgrade, but it doesn't seem to be a top priority in my opinion. At number 10, I have safety. Our safety group is simply one of the best positions on our roster. With Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, we have two potential Pro Bowl starters. And then coming in as our third safety is DeAndre Houston Carson. He's a great backup and special team player. He is a free agent though. If we lose DHC, Elijah Hicks could step into that third safety role, but we could definitely draft another guy late if we lose DHC. I'd like to see DHC brought back for another year at least. At number 9, I have the tight end position. Cole Kmet is a bona fide starter and two-way tight end, but this team needs a reliable second option. Ryan Griffin was disappointing this year. Trevin Wesco played great in the blocking game, but he didn't add much as a receiver. Maybe Jake Tongus or Chase Allen develop a bigger role, but we definitely need a number 2 option at tight end. At number 8, I have running back, and it may not stand out as a huge need. Khalil Herbert, Darrington Evans, who could be brought back, and Treston Ebner wouldn't be an awful trio, but I expect another player to be brought in. I haven't completely ruled out Monty being brought back either. It's also possible Poles goes after someone in free agency or finds a guy in the draft that he really likes. Either way, I expect Herbert to have a new partner in the backfield in 2023. At number 7, I have the guard position. It's one that while on paper might look good, to me is still a question mark. Tevin Jenkins at right guard is our best player on the offensive line, but until I hear more about his injury prognosis, I think you have to have a solid backup entering 2023. Meanwhile, Cody Whitehair at left guard has a big cap hit and can give us even more cap space if released. If we do move on from Cody Whitehair, I think we may need to bring in at least 2 guards. And then at number 6, I have wide receiver, which is tough to predict. We have some intriguing young options at wide receiver, and the group already looks better heading into next year than it did at any point this season. However, we have a lot of flexibility here. With Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Velus Jones Jr., and ESB all coming back, the team has a solid foundation of young weapons. Poles could attack this position in a variety of ways this offseason. If we can acquire a top-end veteran option for cheap, that would be ideal. A guy like DeAndre Hopkins or Brandon Cooks are 2 potential options. The draft is also very deep at wide receiver again, with top options like Jordan Addison and JSN, with some depth in the class as well. Poles will bring in at least one more weapon for Justin Fields at least. I don't see it as a top 5 need though, but at number 5, I have linebacker. After trading Roquan, this team needs another starting linebacker and possibly some more depth. Jack Sandborn looks like a solid starter at one linebacker spot, but Nicholas Morrow might not be back. He played well this year, but Eberflus demands more turnovers from the linebacker position, and Morrow did not deliver. Look for at least one linebacker to be added in the offseason. And at 4, I have offensive tackle. We need a starter at right tackle. Or if we bring in a left tackle, maybe we move Braxton Jones to the right side, but I think Braxton Jones might stay at left tackle. Larry Borum and Riley Reif were both disastrous on the right side this year. I believe both the center and right tackle spot need a guy brought in who is capable of starting. Both positions need to be solidified. And that leads me to number 3. I have the center position. Lucas Patrick and Doug Kramer both remain. I expect Musty to be gone. We need to stabilize this position. Whether it's free agency or the draft, it needs to be done. We need a guy that can come in and start at center and not be a liability in pass protection. And then at number 2, I have defensive end. The cupboard isn't bare there, but someone with 10 sack potential is needed immediately. Trevis Gibson and Dominique Robinson both should be back and have potential to play much better next season with some help, but we were last in the league in sacks. The guy who led our team on sacks was safety Jaquan Brisker. We need help at pass rusher. I see a lot of potential with Dominique Robinson, and Trevis Gibson looked good last year, but disappeared a lot this year. We need some guys at defensive end that can get after the quarterback. I say we need to bring in 2 pass rushers this year at minimum. I have this listed as our second highest need, but going with number 1, you can kind of list them as 1A and 1B because both of these positions need to be attacked in free agency. At number 1, I have defensive tackle, specifically finding a 3-tech for Matt Eberflus's defense. More than one defensive tackle is needed, but it's imperative that Ryan Poles finds a 3-tech for this season. The Larry O deal fell through, and while Justin Jones wasn't awful, a clear upgrade is a must. Eberflus's defense requires a 3-tech that can disrupt and win one-on-ones. This should be Ryan Poles' number 1 priority of the entire offseason. I did not include fullback or special teams in the breakdown. To me, the top 12 needs clearly shows that the biggest focus of the offseason should be improving our trenches on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I know people want a wide receiver, but just like it's hard to evaluate our defensive backs without a pass rush, it's just as hard to evaluate our passing attack, that's Justin Fields and our receivers, without any kind of pass block protection. It goes both ways. I think improving the offensive line will help out our passing attack tremendously. I do think we need another receiver or 2, but I don't have it rated as highly as most because I believe our best course to improving this roster comes via both lines, the offensive line and the defensive line. We have to improve the trenches. We have a talented secondary on defense, we have some weapons on offense, and a dynamic quarterback. We need tons of help on both lines. We could use at least 2 new starters on the O-line, possibly 3. And then on the defensive line, we need at least 3 new starters, maybe even 4. That's 5 to 7 new starters needed on the offensive and defensive line. Those needs need to be shored up this offseason. The rest of our needs are secondary to me. It's all about building these trenches on both sides of the ball, and then this team can finally start to realize its potential. I value other people's opinions and don't think I'm always right. So let me know in the comments what you think our biggest need for the offseason is or what you would do differently. Thanks in advance. Please remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.